Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. And this one I call it Peace Cannot Be Chosen. It's actually based on a question someone asked me on the Spanish channel. And the question is, "Hi Nick, how do we know we are choosing peace and not just choosing our comfort zone?" And I just responded very briefly, and then I'll elaborate a bit. I said, peace is not something you choose. It's the consequence of not identifying with your mind. When the question arises, it means there is no peace. But the peace the videos point to is not human. That is, it is not an experience. It just is. There is a trap in that question, and in every question, because the person is trying to personalize this, is bringing it to the me person. How do I know if I'm choosing peace instead of comfort zone or whatever? The investigation here is not about how do I know or how do I not know. The investigation here is who am I, who I am. See? Because when that is seen through, the fact that I am, then all these questions fall by the wayside. What happens is when there's an identification with the me, with the person, which is the sense of contraction, the belief I'm a separate entity. Now I am seeking, in order to hopefully become whole or happy or peace, whatever the case may be. In other words, I'm seeking myself. I'm seeking to know what I am. I'm seeking to experience the real self, which is what I am. And then these questions comes up in order to keep holding on to the sense of identity that now is trying to experience peace, whatever peace may mean for the person. The peace that passes on understanding that these videos are pointing to is when the investigation is being done and you see that there is no me, there's no person. All that there is experience, direct experience. Right now you cannot negate the fact that you are. This is direct experience. This is what is. This is all that there is, nothing else. In this isness, in this all that there is, which is all that there is, nothing else, thoughts appear, sensations appear or seem to appear, perceptions seem to appear, but I remain as I am. You see? The I am is not the peace conceptual that we claim, that we think has to do with a particular state or feeling in a particular way. The I am is the ever-present beingness in which everything seems to appear and disappear. Right now, when you do the investigation, or when the investigation is done, if I ask you who are you, immediately you will say I am me. Okay, but you said you are me. Who is that me? Well, this is my name, this is who I am a person, blah blah blah. However, then I ask you, you're saying that you are that person or whatever the case may be, that's fine. How do you know you are that person that you claim to be? And if you really look into it, you realize the only way that I claim to know that I am who I think I am is because a thought is telling me that. Because without the thought, I cannot claim that I am any of the attributes or descriptions of myself. Without the thought, all that there is what is. This is non-conceptual. This is not something the mind can grasp, but you cannot negate the fact that you are. And all that the human being seems to do through thinking and everything is trying to get to a particular place, when in reality we're pointing to the fact that that place is you. Right now you are being. You cannot not be. That's all there is to it. But the mind with thoughts somehow, because first believe the thought I separate entity, Now, I, me, individual, wants to do something in order to become what? Happy, peaceful, free, it doesn't matter. So in a way, you're trying to find yourself, but you cannot find yourself because the yourself, the real self we're pointing to, is overshadowed, covered up by whatever thought that may appear in regards to how am I going to feel, but in reality you simply are. You can never not be. When that investigation is done, once again, you see how these questions are just basically distractions. Because example, how do I know if I'm choosing peace or if I'm choosing a comfort zone? In reality, you're not even choosing peace nor the comfort zone. These are seeming appearances in what is, and you are what is, you see? So in the what is, appears thoughts, appears sensations, or seem to appear, perception appears, but you remain as you are, you see? And in that isness, that are, which is what you are, what kind of questions could come up? None. Thoughts will appear that may take the form of a question, but now they're seen through. Otherwise, if I don't see through them, I believe that the thought is something that is important because it's pertaining to me. But who's that me that you are referring to? You see? So if we overlook that, you're going to stay running in circles forever because the mind will offer you another answer. Well, the way you know that you're not choosing peace or choosing peace and it's a comfort zone is because you feel that in a comfort zone you're not taking the chance to open up and see how you can look at the fears that might be there. All of that pertains to the character, not to who you are. And the question is, do you want to know who you are or do you want to fix the character? The thing is that, to keep it simple, life happens. Life is, put it this way, and then everything seems to appear in it. This me seems to appear in it. Every thought appears in it. Every sensation, everything appears in it, but I remain as I am. You see? When I say all the time, if you don't identify with any thought, what remains, the problem is that there's a mind, the mind is trying to grab that question. He says, okay, I am not going to identify with any thoughts. No, I am not asking you not to identify with any thoughts so you can have a particular experience. I am pointing to what is already prior to any thought that may seem to appear in it. Right now, are you not being? Again, this is the most obvious. It's just that we're trying to understand it through the mind. What do you think is going to happen if you can see the fact that you are not this separate entity? What kind of idea the mind has conjured up in the form of a thought that says this is the reward for me to knowing who I am? Or, you know? Or let's put it this way, how is it going to look? I'll never have pains, or I only will have positive thoughts. I'll be living in blissful life. If you have all these ideas, these are thoughts appearing or seeming to appear in what is. And what is unperturbable, is unshakable. The sky is unshakable in spite of whatever clouds may appear in it. These questions are thoughts that appear in what you are, that is trying to seek for an answer, when the answer, all it does is feeding the very same false sense of identity. You see? I believe in A Course in Miracles, there's a line that says, every question or every answer that the world offers just brings up another question, leaving the first one unanswered. This is not a steps to follow in order to get to or to experience anything in the future. We're dismantling the concept so you can realize that you are. That is not a personal realization. That's what I said very clear here, that, you know, the piece we're talking about is not personal. Life is not personal. Life is. The personal seems to appear in life, and that personal is a thought. Without the thought, there's no personal. All that there is what is. You see? So in the end, let's look at how the mind likes to ask questions, because it believes that if the question is answered, it's going to have a particular experience, or it's going to, I don't know, whatever the mind has conjured up about the journey. But in reality, there's no need to answer any questions from the mind. It's just look through everything. It's all thought. Without believing the content of the mind, all that remains is what is, which has always been prior to any thought, while a thought may seem to appear, and after the thought. And the same thing with feelings and sensation. You simply are. That's it. You are prior to any sensation, while a sensation may seem to appear, and after the sensation seem to appear. You always are. You can never not be. And this is where these videos are pointing to. I address that question simply to see how the mind is trying to distract. That's all. Not to try to give the person an answer. Notice that I didn't say anything about, how do I know if you choose or not. No, that's the distraction. You see? The character will play the role that it's supposed to play according to the will of that which, whatever you want to call it. But you are that. You see? Not the character. You will do whatever you're supposed to do according to whatever's supposed to happen. The question is, do you believe that you're doing it and therefore experiencing the consequence of maybe suffering or pain, pleasure, in the idea that you feel bad because you shouldn't have done something, or you feel good because you're so proud of something you did. Again, these are the consequences of thinking that you are the doer. But when you know that you are, then life simply unfolds and you watch the movie, that's all, as it unfolds. And if it appears that you're choosing peace, that's fine. If it appears that you're choosing a comfort zone, that's fine. Because when you know that you are, then there's no distraction with who is choosing what. It's just simply life unfolding. Am I choosing to make this video, or this is just what happens? See? And then we don't have to be distracted by any of it. And let's go back to what is important, at least to what these videos are pointing to. Is the fact that you are. And when that is clearly seen, and these thoughts, although may appear, and sensations may appear in the form of contraction, in the form of feelings, in the form of whatever, you know that you're not manufacturing any of that. They're just simply appearances in what you are. And because you remain as you are, that's what, again, is referred to as the peace that surpasses all understanding. How can you be at peace when this is happening? How can you be at peace when you're feeling this way? How can you be at peace when the thoughts are happening? Because I'm not identified with the thought, me, individual, who claim that these things are happening too. I am resting in beingness, and I'm the witness rather than the protagonist. Well, right now, you believe that this three-dimensional movie is your reality. It's like when you're sleeping and you're dreaming. You're always in bed, untouched. You see? And yet, when the attention goes to the dream, you believe the quote-unquote reality of the dream. And therefore, you're simply distracted. You don't need to fix the dream. You don't need to do anything in the dream in order to return back to bed. Just withdraw the attention from the dream, and the realization that you're in bed is obvious. Same thing here. You don't need to choose peace. You don't need to choose anything. Just withdraw the attention from the mind that is trying to, the thoughts that are trying to, the belief in this self. When the attention is withdrawn, then what is obvious is what is. And again, these videos are paradoxical because I say withdraw the attention, but you will not withdraw the attention because I say so. You withdraw the attention if withdrawing the attention is supposed to happen. But when you see through all of that, you see, then again, it's just simple. That which supposedly projects all of this, whatever, or these seeming appearances in what is leading this seeming you and this seeming me to encounter, to remind itself the fact that I am, the fact that it is, the fact that I am that. What I mean I am, I'm including you, because you and I are the same. See? This calling to know who I am is what led this instrument to talk about these things, and is what led that instrument to hear this kind of information. And whatever happens with the seeming characters, that's just life unfolding. I don't know what's going to happen through this seeming instrument. All I know is that this is what life has me doing, but I am not this seeming instrument doing. I am life itself. Not conceptually, it's not that I understand it, because this is not the point, but we're pointing, however, to the fact that I am, and that is undeniable. You can never deny the fact that you are. That's undeniable existence. That is just a fact. That's just what is. A fact within the illusion, of course. You cannot negate that. Just notice how the mind is trying to color this experience, colors it up with concepts and ideas, and you know, and if you see that, if you can see through that, then feelings happen, sensations happen, thoughts happen, everything appearing, but everything appears or seems to appear in you, and we're pointing to that you, and that you has no questions and has no answers, because it's simply the space like in which everything seems to appear and disappear, like the fourth book of the series. I am, in which everything seems to appear and disappear. This is where this is all pointing to. That's all. There's really nothing much to say. Can you say that you are not right now? Don't try to go to the mind so see if you can figure that if you're not. No, you're breathing, you're feeling, or feeling, breathing, sensing. This is happening very organically. You're not choosing the sensing, you're not choosing the feeling, you're not choosing the breathing, you're not choosing anything. You're not choosing the seeing, you're not choosing the hearing. It's just very organic, see, this is all. And then the mind begins to interpret, which is thought. You see, thoughts begin to interpret, okay, what does it mean? What is it like? What is it? What is this? What is that? You see? And then I get concerned, oh my God, what could happen to me? What could happen over there? But again, everything is happening, and you simply are, and you remain as you are. And then as that becomes crystal clear, that is the peace that passes all understanding, which is not a choice, but a consequence. And well, this is inspiration that came through. I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.